Great, I can get to that pocket. Hold on. Okay. You good? Okay. Good afternoon. Please be seated. Hello, graduates of the class of 2021. My name is Wayne Edwards, professor and chair of American Studies, Media and Communications. I've also had the pleasure of serving in several administrative posts here at Old Westbury: Dean of Students, Vice President for Student Affairs, Chief Diversity Officer, Vice President for Institutional Advancement, and Executive Director of the Old Westbury College Foundation. So I thank our President, Dr. Timothy Sams, our Provost, Dr. Duncan Qualis, and Ms. Danielle Collins-Groner, Chair of our Commencement Committee, for asking me to do the honors of greeting you today. It's a privilege that I do not take lightly. That said, welcome to the campus. Might have been a while for some of you actually being here on campus, so welcome. I see some heads nodding, so welcome to campus. You are graduate students, and you are alumni of our college. And I think given the climate, given everything that's been going on, for you to have reached this point, to have stayed the course, I think you owe yourselves a round of applause. So please. Okay, I also extend greetings to faculty, staff, administrators, members of the College Council, the College Foundation, and friends of the college who are with us today, either in person or virtually. And last but not least, your family, your friends, and your loved ones who have supported you throughout your impressive academic journey. Please make some noise to show them your love and appreciation. All right. You sound ready. All right, so it is my distinct pleasure to introduce someone who is not only a dear friend and colleague, but more importantly, someone who holds a special place in the Old Westbury family. Dr. Laura Anker is a distinguished service professor of American Studies and director of the first year experience and community action learning and leadership programs at the State University of New York College at Old Westbury. The CALL program has earned Old Westbury a place on the President's Higher Education Community Service Honor Roll every year since its inception in 2007. Dr. Anker is co-editor of the Ethics of Engagement, Educating Leaders for a Just World, and has published peer-reviewed articles and presented papers at national and international conferences on the importance of civic engagement and community learning for retention, intercultural understanding, social activism, and effective global citizenship. Dr. Anker is not only a powerhouse in academia, she's also a community leader and a frequent speaker on issues of education and immigration. Dr. Anker was elected to the East Hampton Union Free School District for 7 terms, 21 years, and served both as its president and vice president. She currently serves on the board of directors of the Eleanor Whitmore Early Learning Center and Long Island Wins, an immigrant advocacy organization, as well as on the executive committee of the East Hampton Group for Good Government. In 2018, Dr. Anker received the Leadership Award from the Old Westbury College Foundation, and in 2019 was honored for outstanding experiential education for higher education by the National Society for Experiential Education. Now, obviously, you're getting the idea that I could go on and on and on about Dr. Anker, but rather than do that, let's bring her up so she can share her wisdom with you. Dr. Laura Anker.
Yes, and thank you for that incredibly gracious introduction, and to Danielle and Dr. Sams for asking me to speak to all of you. First, let me say congratulations to the class of 2021. This is the graduate class of 2021, but overall, you are the largest graduating class in Old Westbury's history. And I think the graduate class might be the largest in our history as well. So thank you. While we were able to honor you virtually in Sunday's grand formal graduation with all its pomp and circumstance, we're also happy to be able to celebrate your achievements in these small, more intimate, personal ceremonies on Old Westbury's beautiful campus, which I think we're all very happy to return to. Although the health precautions imposed by COVID-19 prevent your parents, extended families, and significant others from being in this room with us today, we are live streaming these facilities, and you will be able to take pictures at the end with us and with your friends, and outside we can take them with your parents as well. I know that as the greatest cheerleaders, they join us in applauding your achievements, academic, personal, and civic, the ways you have grown and the obstacles you have overcome to graduate from Old Westbury. Without their love and support, you would not be college graduates. Please join me in giving them a hand of applause. Born out of the struggles, and there's a little bit of a historian always in me, so born out of the struggles for civil rights and economic, racial, and gender equality in the 1960s, Old Westbury is a young college with a long tradition of commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, educational empowerment, active learning, community engagement, and leadership for change. From its inception, Old Westbury was committed to providing an elite liberal arts interdisciplinary education in a democratic context, to educating those who had been traditionally bypassed by American higher education: women, students of color, immigrants, working class young people, and older adults. By graduating, you demonstrate that you have, in the words of Adrienne Rich, claimed this very special education. So many of you represent the first generations in your families to go to college. Most of you have worked often too many hours to help support yourselves while in college and to contribute to your families. Your graduation itself and becoming teachers itself challenges the widening economic and racial divide in American society. By being here today and in your contributions to your families and communities, you personify Mahatma Gandhi's often quoted phrase, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." I know the faculty, administrators, and staff gathered here today share my respect, admiration, and even awe truly awe at the enormity of your accomplishments. Graduating from college is a major achievement, and getting master's degrees is even a greater one. In normal times, but you have persevered under the most challenging of circumstances, a worldwide pandemic that has ravaged our nation and the globe, forcing you to complete the last year and a half of your college education remotely. Despite the difficulties of a transition to virtual learning, you have excelled academically and contributed as tutors, teaching assistants, college and community ambassadors, poll watchers, essential workers, and so much more. You are leaving us to become teachers on Long Island and New York City in social studies, math, Spanish, English, and childhood education and literacy education. And as you begin these careers, we hope that you will speak truth to power, knowing that education is the essential foundation of a democratic society and engaged global citizenship. And I wanted to just say something a little personal here, which is that I come from a long family of educators. My parents were the children of immigrants, and they became public school teachers in New York City, eventually administrators. My daughter is a teacher, and my daughter-in-law is a teacher. And I will never forget that when my daughter was applying to graduate school in education, she said, Mom, or she wrote on her application, that she really wanted to be a teacher because if she became a teacher, she could always be a student. And I think that that's a very important lesson that all of you have. Paulo Freire reminds us that education doesn't have to be for liberation. Education can become a means of oppression, what he calls the banking theory of education. And I see you nodding your head back there. Yay. The banking theory of education, where teachers impart or deposit into students who are the bank ideas that they get from on high, from the powers that be, and then expect to withdraw exactly what they put into the bank from their students. But he also reminds us that education can be the major means of liberation. And that kind of education takes place in community, in which students and teachers learn together, create knowledge, are the creators of knowledge, and share their experiences. And this he calls education for liberation. And I know that those are the kinds of teachers that you are going to be and that we need so desperately in our society today. As college graduates, you will enjoy more rewarding careers and earn at least $1 million more over your lifetime than those whose highest degree is a high school diploma. But your Old Westbury liberal arts education will continue to enrich your lives in so many more important ways than money, making you happier and transforming your friendships, ideas, values, and communities, the person you are and whom you will become. I can testify that learning from your different voices and stories inside and outside the classroom has shaped my life and who I am as a teacher, historian, community activist, friend, spouse, mother, and grandparent. You are graduating from college at a particularly difficult time for our nation, during a global pandemic which has accentuated the problems of racism and inequality that have plagued our country from its inception and continue to undermine our democracy and our humanity. A pandemic that has also claimed so many lives, and I know has touched our students as well. But you, the Old Westbury graduating class of 2021, make this also a time of great hope and optimism for a better future. The unique diversity of Old Westbury has enriched your classrooms and challenged all of you to listen more fully, reflect more deeply, think more critically, decide more ethically, care more intensely, love more broadly, and act more courageously and compassionately in everything you do. As Old Westbury graduates, you know that the greatest measure of success is the contributions you make to the community. And I know that's why you've chosen to be teachers. You have learned from the distinct experiences and perspectives of your classmates and faculty to speak out and act against racism, sexism, inequality, and cruelty, to break that silence and bridge some of those differences between us, as Audre Lorde reminds us. For it is not difference which immobilizes, but silence. To a divided nation and world torn apart by racism, hate, inequality, and the decimation of the environment, you bring the ideals and values expressed in Old Westbury's historic social justice mission: access and equity, inclusivity, critical thinking, empathy, creativity, intercultural understanding, lifelong learning, and civic activism, a commitment to building a more just and sustainable world. As graduates, you have become part of Old Westbury's history, but you also join the family of global alumni, 31,000 people strong, who will shape the college's future. We look forward to staying in touch and connected as you embark on your future journeys, and hope that you will channel the magic of Old Westbury to the problems of your communities, our nation, and the world, today and in the future. Thank you and congratulations. And now it is my great honor to introduce to you Dr. Timothy Sams. Dr. Timothy E. Sams. I was looking for that middle initial that I left out. Dr. Timothy E. Sams. Dr. Sams began his tenure as the 6th president of Old Westbury in January 2021, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, protest, political unrest, and the college's pivot to virtual learning. Dr. Sams brought with him 3 decades of experience in improving academic success and college completion, particularly for students from underrepresented and marginalized communities. In the 4 short months since his arrival, Dr. Sams' commitment to Old Westbury's students and mission has won him the admiration, respect, and affection, I might say even love, of the entire Old Westbury community. His leadership promises to advance Old Westbury's impact on the local and global community, and our standing as one of the most diverse colleges in the nation, with a commitment to educational excellence, access, and equity, to building a more just and sustainable world. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and congratulations to our graduate students from the School of Education. This is a moment that is as special for us as it is for you and your families, because it is a moment that culminates a lot of hard work and investment in you. But most importantly, it's a moment of immense pride and a little bit of hopefulness, because there's a lot of work out there for you to do. I was on a Zoom call last week with a collection of presidents from across the country. And as we introduced ourselves, it turns out that a few of us gained our presidency during the pandemic over the past year and a half. And when I introduced myself, I said, I must be either courageous or crazy to take up a presidency during this period. The reason I say that is because I suspect you understand a little bit about that, being either courageous or crazy. You're entering a profession where we still don't have all the deserving kind of respect for the work that you do. The transformation of young people, the development of a literate population in a democratic society. So whether it's out of courage or a little craziness, we really, really are immensely proud of you. And we thank you for the commitment you make to educating a better country. Getting up earlier than all of us, being the first faces that so many students will see. And doing what Ms. Kern did for me, my third grade teacher, when she absolutely every single day, especially around multiplications, got on my nerves. And when I finally asked her, why did she stay on me and treat me worse than she treated the other students? She said, because I see more in you right now than you see in yourself. And I'm going to make sure you realize it. That's the kind of teachers. That's the kind of teachers that you spoke about. And you're the kind of teachers that we need. Before I do what I'm supposed to do, which is simply say welcome, I want you to help me in thanking Ms. Danielle Collins-Groner for her work in not only putting together the tremendous graduation that we had yesterday, but also for her work in putting together 14 of these special recognition ceremonies. Please join me in thanking her. And then I'm going to ask the faculty and staff in the room to turn to you and to extend a thanks to you for your perseverance, for your brilliance, but most of all, for the commitment and courage that you will demonstrate over the rest of your lives. So I ask that we all turn to them and say, congratulations. By way of formally welcoming you to your recognition ceremony, one that we thought it not robbery to conduct, we understood that not having a formal graduation would kind of undercut or slight you. And we were able to pivot with the wisdom and guidance of Danielle to a recognition ceremony, albeit 14 in total. Okay, 14 in total. You are the third of today for us, and we are no less excited. But again, we did not think it robbery to take an occasion to give you an opportunity to walk across, albeit a smaller stage, but a walk nevertheless. But for us to give you a final in-person thank you, and most especially one that extends from our faculty to you. In Ghana, West Africa, when you return home from a trip, the family sits you down and gives you a cold drink. The family asks you one single question, of which you're supposed to expound upon and tell them the entire story of your journey. And that is, what have you done since we last saw you? What have we done since we last saw you? Well, as welcomes go, I think it is fair and appropriate to ask that same question of you today. Since we last saw you about a year and a half ago, you are you've been quarantined, you worked, and we know you worked. You worked as teachers. You were told to come in, go back. You worried about your own safety of your students, but you still got up and you did the work, whether in person or virtual. You took care of your families. Some of you may have said a final goodbye to loved ones. You took to the street to organize against social injustice, but all the while you maintained your focus on your goal of graduating and finishing this spring of 2021. So it's fair to say that you have stayed focused, stayed rigorous, and stayed committed to your future in the time since we last met. And because of that, today we are immensely proud of you. We honor you and we welcome you to your recognition ceremony. I just want to share one more thing with you. Those who know me know that my grandparents are the two most important people in my life. Although they passed away well over 15 years ago, they remain the two most important people in my life. And yes, I have a wife and I have family, but even they know that my grandparents remain at the top of the list. As I grew up, my grandparents had this kind of 1-2 punch that they would give to me. My grandfather said to me, "You are in this world to make sure everybody you meet is better than when you came to them. Every person you meet, make sure they are better than when you found them." And my grandmother would say, "That's why I'm a teacher." So thank you. Thank you for giving me yet another moment to honor my grandmother. So, I'm going to ask Dr. Edwards to come to the podium.
Okay, so before I give you sort of the instructions for how we're going to conclude today's ceremony, I first want to thank Dr. Sams, thank Dr. Anker for their words of encouragement. And I would like to make a deal with you, maybe 2 deals. Okay? So the first thing, I want to piggyback on what Dr. Sams was just saying. We are educators. Okay? And over the years, I've had people at different times ask me, they said, well, what is it about being an educator that you like? Well, what is it that turns you on about this? And I always say that there is something deeply fulfilling in preparing young folks, graduate students are maybe not quite as young as undergrads, but preparing young folks like yourselves to prepare the next generation and the generation after that, to prepare them to step into the world and do good work, and to help create and sustain a world that is fair and just to all. So that's our challenge. So part 1 of the deal is I challenge you all to continue doing that work, to continue preparing those coming behind you, right? So that they benefit from your wisdom. The second part of the deal is, again, you are now alumni of this great institution. So as alumni, what we need from you is a commitment to stay connected to the college. No college can maintain and sustain without a strong alumni base. Okay? And you are part of that alumni family. Dr. Anker referred to over 31,000 strong globally, right? You are now part of that family. So stay in touch with us. Penny Chin, who's sitting in the back of the room, I see her there. If you want to wave, Penny. Penny is our Director of Alumni Affairs. You will hear from her. If you haven't heard from her yet, you will hear from her, right? So when you hear from Penny, respond to her. If you're asked to come back to campus and talk at an event, to talk with students, current students, please give that serious consideration. Let them benefit from your wisdom and your knowledge and your experience. Okay, so that said, we will now conclude our ceremony. Graduates will move row by row with the help of volunteer ushers, starting from the back, up to the podium. We have on our screen over there, that's our Zoom screen where you can stop by to say hello to any of your professors who may be watching us from home or elsewhere. As you come up, remember to leave a little space between each other, social distancing. We're not going to do like Madison Square Garden last night and pack 15,000 people in here, right? No mask, no nothing. We'll respect social distancing. So keep a distance between yourselves. Hand your yellow name card at the podium so that your name can be read, and then cross the stage. And as you cross the stage, don't forget that if you wish, you can take a picture with President Sams, and of course, I hope you all do that. Okay, and as you're doing that, wave to the camera so your loved ones at home or wherever they may be can see you. Faculty in attendance, if you'd like to stand in front of your seat to greet the graduates as they walk by, you can please do so now. Dr. Sams, if I may ask that you take your position in the center of the stage. And I'd like to ask Acting Dean of the School of Education, Dr. Diana Sukram, to come to the podium and read the names of the graduates. Congratulations to you all.
Congratulations, SOE Master Teachers. Ariana Williams Leaser, Childhood Special Education. Melissa Mattison, Special Education. Caitlin McGinnis, Childhood Special Education. Natalie Lucent, Adolescent Ed Social Studies. Michael Pepe, Adolescent Ed Biology. Kimberly Lopez, Childhood Special Education. Monique Tanal, Childhood Special Education. Jane Capiello, Childhood Special Education. Yay! Corey Costa, Adolescent Ed Social Studies. Danielle Lopinto, Adolescent Ed English Language Arts. Jake Roche, Adolescent Ed English Language Arts. Jessica Dillon, Literacy Education. Casey Marr, Literacy Education. Monica Aquia, MAT Spanish. Catherine Tignetti, Adolescent Ed Social Studies. Neil Berger, Adolescent Ed Social Studies. Justin Ellis, Adolescent Ed Social Studies. Caitlin O'Keefe, Adolescent Ed Social Studies. Danielle Sinkin, Adolescent Ed Social Studies.
So one more ritual associated with commencement, and the one that you'll all remember. That is, take your hand, put it on your tassel, and swing it over to the left side of your mortarboard. Congratulations.
That concludes our ceremony. Thank you so much. And special thanks, we need to mention special thanks to SGA for your Old Westbury swag bag. All right, some good stuff in there. All right. So once again, congratulations to you all. There are photo stations against the wall here, some more outside. If you have family outside, you can take pictures with them out there. So once again, congratulations to you all.